Football is back, baby, and I want you guys to trust the 6 million men worldwide who also trust Manscaped.com, guys. At the quarterback position, we've got the Lawnmower 4.0. Skin-safe technology, guys. Patented skin-safe technology. Go to the website right now. They sponsor the show, and I only use products and promote products that I believe in. Showerline 20 is the code you want to use upon checkout. Listen, try the Lawnmower 4.0. Try the deodorant. Try the body wash. Amazing products. The fit and finish is phenomenal. The product is great. It's going to help you stay trimmed, stay groomed. I don't just use it on my balls. I use it on my chest. I use it on my face. Amazing product, Lawnmower 4.0, Showerline 20 upon checkout. Go experience Manscaped products right now. They are the sponsor of the show. And again, I only promote products that I believe in. Football is back. Stay groomed, stay fresh while you're watching games for your draft. If you're drafting this weekend, Manscaped.com, Showerline 20. Go do that right now. Now, today's show, I got an exciting one here for you. We are talking about mid to late round running backs. I know a lot of people have drafts this weekend. Last weekend, a lot of people waiting. Obviously, a good thing sometimes in many cases, as there has been injuries, there's been shootings, there's been arrests, there's been a lot of drama, obviously, in the offseason, a lot of contract negotiations and deals. And I understand that a lot of people wait. But today we're talking about mid to late round running backs, okay, guys? Now, the problem here with running backs is that they get really slim and trim after in and around the third or fourth round. After that, it's a bit of a crapshoot. So you got to really, really be careful. I was at a draft yesterday at Hooters, and literally, guys, I'm telling you, people were scrambling for running backs in round 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm like, well, why did you wait? You got to go robust RB early, right? Now, it was a keeper league. They kept 3 picks earlier on. Some of them were quarterbacks and tight ends, and I get it. But at the end of the day, guys, I saw the value in looking for running backs very, very early, okay? You need to get them early. Mid to late, you're in trouble. But I'm going to give you guys some running backs right now that you can get mid to late that might save your league if you're desperate, all right, guys? I'm ready to dive into this show. We're talking mid to late running back value. Let's get to it. All right, guys, welcome to the show. Smash a thumbs up. Leave a like, guys. A like button is very helpful to the channel. I appreciate it. Drop a comment below. Let me know which mid to late running backs you like this year. Love to dive into it. I'm going to be talking a little bit about Damion Pierce, his kind of explosion into the industry this year, into the fantasy football industry and all this media attention. Going to be talking about some guys that may save your league at the running back if you decide to wait or went, zero RB, which is the worst thing you can do. And I don't teach any of this stuff, so I haven't even done an episode like this, but we're going to talk a little bit about some value at the running back position mid to late rounds. Again, smash the thumbs up, and if you haven't got it yet, get the 16-round draft solution, linked it below. It'll put you light years ahead of the competition. Sleepers, breakouts, optimal players drafted in each round. Again, I was at a live draft yesterday, and people had no idea what they were doing. They're like, okay, I got this cheat sheet and the rankings, who do I get? And everyone kept coming to me. I'm like, guys, aim high on the depth chart. You're getting like one guy drafted Marquise Valdez-Scantling. I'm like, years to wow us, we're not wowed. J.D. McKissick came off the board. I'm like, guys, you're not drafting correctly, okay? So once you get 16 rounds, you'll be light years out of the competition. There's a principal cheat sheet. You will crush it. Get 16 rounds. Use code TUBE20. Save yourself 20%. All right, let's talk about running backs. This is going to be an open discussion. This isn't necessarily a list. It's just an open discussion here about mid to late round running backs, okay? It's going to be short and brief, and I want to get to the point, okay? Now, you guys know my strategy. I always talk about going robust RB early. Very, very important to secure the most scarce position. A lot of you guys understand that. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and wake up and get that 16-round draft solution, because if you don't go robust RB, it gets slim and trim. So let's talk about that real quickly here, okay? So what ended up happening last year in a lot of leagues, and it happens, the league yesterday, and I'm seeing it in a lot of leagues and people DM me, is after that 4th round, what do? You've only got 1 running back, okay? Or maybe you might have 2, but you still want that 3rd running back. Again, very slim and trim. What are your options? So when you are looking in and around, round 4 to 6, let's talk in and around there, the options there are slim and questionable, to say the least, okay? So you've got Cam Akers. Now, do we trust Cam Akers? Not wholeheartedly, okay? Years to wow us, we're not wowed. First rookie year, I remember he came in with a lot of excitement, and he was hurt. Like, he had this rib injury that lingered throughout the season, didn't get going, okay? So now the Rams are coming off a Super Bowl hangover, right? It's going to be slightly different offense. They've added Allen Robinson. There's talk about Matt Stafford having some elbow issues on his throwing arm. I think it's just going to be a different offense. I definitely project the regression there in Cooper Kupp. So when I look at a guy like Cam Akers, I'm seeing a guy that is in a position that could be the RB1. There is some upside. I like that. Obviously, they've got a bit of a committee there, Henderson, all the other bottom feeders there. Not really concerned about that, but Cam Akers, can he stay healthy is the biggest question. He has not proven it to us, and he has a lot of question marks, but he's an option in and around late round third, fourth, if you've waited. Now, we're going to dive a little deeper here as we get a little bit later into the fourth round, fifth round, sixth round. Your options are, fourth round, you got Josh Jacobs, you got A.J. Dillon, you got Elijah Mitchell, you got J.K. Dobbins, Chase Edmunds, Antonio Gibson, as we start getting into rounds 4, 6, 5, 6, 7, right? So those are kind of your running backs in and around that range. And I have problems with all of them. Now, I do love A.J. Dillon, but not as an RB1. So many people wait and they say, okay, well, I'm going to get A.J. Dillon as my RB1. Now, in fairness, he was the RB1 on the roster last year. He was, okay? Now, anyone spending a second-round pick on Aaron Jones is an idiot because it was a split committee, and Dillon actually favored the rushing attempts, the rushing touchdowns, and what else? Rushing attempts, rushing yards, and rushing touchdowns. He beat Aaron Jones in all those categories. Not so much in the receiving, but it was only not much of a different of a margin there. So A.J. Dillon, I like him as an RB3, 4, at minimum RB3. I don't even like him as an RB2. So he's another guy that people are like, okay, I got Dillon, but they weren't feeling warm and fuzzy about him in the draft I was at yesterday. But again, everybody was scrambling at this point. And again, this is only if you've gotten to this point. If you have gone robust RB, it's gravy because grabbing wide receiver ones is easy in rounds 4 to 7. There's an abundance of them. But when you go 0 RB or you went, tight end early or a quarterback in a 2-quarterback league and someone went robust RB, all those top 9 workhorse running backs that have no committees or minimal committees are gone. So now you're scrambling. So Dillon is an option, but as an RB3. But if you're desperate and you need him as an RB2, you have no choice at this point. He can be a safe play and he's serviceable. That's what you need to know. Josh Jacobs could be primed for a huge opportunity and a workload this year. Obviously, they brought Zamir White in. They're going to be throwing the ball to Devontae Adams. They've got other options at receiving. Josh Jacobs has lacked explosiveness and has had years to wow us. We're not really wowed. He's been mediocre at best. And again, they got rid of Kenyon Drake. He's gone. He's off to Baltimore. So you're looking at Jacobs in a position to have a good season. So he could be that guy that's got that RB1 type upside if you are desperate in and around rounds 4 to 6, or in a 12-person league. Okay, Jacobs could be a safe play here. Elijah Mitchell, I just don't trust San Francisco's offense. They've got a young quarterback who's pretty mobile. They got Deebo Samuel. I don't know if I trust him. And again, he's had his share of injuries. So Elijah Mitchell in and around here, I don't feel warm and fuzzy, but very, very serviceable and has a little bit of upside. J.K. Dobbins here, I heard he was already banged up in practice. The guy also can't stay healthy. They brought in Kenyon Drake. I don't trust it. And again, the thing about a guy here in the mid-rounds, right, like a guy like J.K. Dobbins, you have to be careful as well with Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson is a running back and he puts up top 10 running back numbers. And for that reason alone, I avoid him. I never, ever draft running backs where their quarterback is putting up top 10 running back numbers because that automatically makes J.K. Dobbins an RB2 on his team. Does that make sense, guys? I don't care if Lamar Jackson's a quarterback, and I don't care if they start working J.K. Dobbins more to relieve the running, pressure that Lamar Jackson faces, always to rush. So again, I'm going to go ahead and completely fade J.K. Dobbins this year, okay? Then you've got your Chase Edmunds, who's in a pretty good opportunity here this year with Miami. I don't know if I trust this team as well. Very mobile quarterback, tons of options to receiving from Gesicki to Tyreek Hill to Waddle. I don't know if there's enough targets to go around. Chase Edmunds, years to wow us. We're not wowed, not excited. So again, guys, what I'm giving you guys is my critique and my breakdown, all these guys in and around this range. So again, out of all those guys, you got Cam Akers, boomer bust, high ceiling. You got A.J. Dillon, who's serviceable and safe and can be the RB1 if Aaron Jones gets hurt. If not, he's still going to be a safe RB2. Is going to get some volume, but it's going to be a 50-50 mix. You got Josh Jacobs, who could run away with the job, but lacks that ceiling. And then you've got Elijah Mitchell, who's in a suspect situation, who can't stay healthy. Again, other options, Antonio Gibson. Obviously, you've heard the news with Brian Robinson, who's been hurt. Gibson can be serviceable. Like I said, he's one fumble away from losing his job. Brian Robinson was drafted because they know that Antonio Gibson fumbles the ball. So I don't really trust Antonio Gibson at all. But again, desperate times call for desperate measures. Some people at the draft yesterday, again, I was at this draft, I think it was a 10-person draft yesterday, and people were coming to me saying, Joe, I need a running back. What do you think of Clyde Edwards-Helaire? I'm like, just get Pacheco later. He could take that job. If you're looking at a late round sleeper, go Isaiah Pacheco. If you had to, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, years to wow us, we're not wow. Tons of options, disaster, can't stay healthy. I don't trust him at all, guys, if you're looking at him, okay? Safe option here, again, if you're starting to get into later rounds, Kareem Hunt, Tony Pollard, very, very boring, very, very safe options. We've got a disgruntled Kareem Hunt, and you've got a Tony Pollard who I think is going to have similar numbers to last year. I still think they run Zeke Elliott. Now, this is funny here. Damion Pierce right now. Let's talk about him, okay? Because I see him sitting here as I'm going down all these tiers. I see Damion Pierce as a tier 5 on the Concheapsis ranking, sitting 30th. Was sitting 50th about a month ago. And I was telling you about Damion Pierce earlier. Now he's on everybody's radar. Where do you draft him? Now, again, on the rankings, he's very low on the Concheapsis, but he's coming off as early as, believe it or not, the 3rd round, okay? Maybe even the 4th round, because people are desperate for running backs. It's such a scarce position, and he's primed to be a workhorse running back. They just got rid of Marlon Mack, and, guys, Royce Freeman got released as well. I think Marlon Mack's going to be on the practice squad, but they might call him up if they need him. But at the end of the day, guys, you look at this, and you look at the situation, and he is primed to get that workhorse load, okay? Damion Pierce, if you want him, he's not going to fall based on the ADP Concheapsis. He's going to be coming off as early as the 3rd or 4th round. Depending on how knowledgeable your league is and how bad they need a running back, he's going to fall. Now, for all you guys who want robust RB with me, what do you do? If I go robust RB, you got to make a decision, because if you might have to make a decision between Breece Hall and Damion Pierce. You may want to go wide receiver in round 3, maybe a Pittman, and come back and get Pierce in 4, okay? So you may want to mix things up if you guys went RB, right? Because then you end up getting RB. You got 4 running backs if you get Pierce in the 4th, if he falls to the 4th, right? So it's a very delicate situation. I've never seen so much volatility around one player prior to a season. It's absolutely crazy with a guy like Damion Pierce. But he's in such a scarce position where people want him that I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be coming off early. So, and he has been in that league yesterday. I think he came off round, it was a 3-person keeper league. I think he came off round 6 or something like that. So Damion Pierce is an option, but he's not going to fall to the mid-rounds like the other guys I've been talking about, okay? Other guys here in the mid-round, Miles Sanders, don't really trust them. And then you've got this option here with I can't even pronounce it today. Ramandra Stevenson, okay? You've got him, you've got Damien Harris. Who do you choose? I'm assuming Harris gets most of the goal line work, but Stevenson's going to be there. It's going to be a committee. I don't trust Patriots backs, but people got desperate last year. Like, Joe, what do? Do I go Miles Sanders or do I go Damien Harris? I'm like, what a crappy situation to be when you need an RB2 or RB3 to choose one of these guys. But I had to go with a guy like Stevenson for ceiling, right? So a lot of question marks. Now, there's a sneaky gem here mid to late rounds when you're trying to decide. There's Cornell Patterson, who is like a Swiss Army knife, who could be a value, guys, okay? But again, a lot of question marks there with Mariota running the ball. Who's quarterback? Does Ritter come in? How's that going to look? Is Tyler Algier going to step up? Patterson's a wide receiver. But again, another guy that could be that upside guy there. Then you've got also James Cook mid to late rounds and Kenneth Walker. Now, Kenneth Walker banged up with the hernia. I still think he takes that RB1 spot. So if you are aiming on the depth chart and you want a guy that's going to get volume, going to be the RB1, Kenneth Walker is that guy you get mid to later that could really, really shine, okay? Then you've got James Cook, who I think could be really good, really dynamic, and be used in the receiving game, but he's in a committee there with Singletary, and Josh Allen likes to run the ball more. Again, me with my situation, I don't like, Lamar Jackson running the ball a lot. I avoided J.K. Dobbins. I don't think it's any different here. Josh Allen runs the ball a lot. Not as much as Lamar Jackson, but I still think volume will be limited for James Cook, although I love the talent, I love the upside, but he is in a bit of a committee, and he's got a quarterback that runs the ball, okay? Other hidden gems here, you got James Robinson you can get later, who I still think is the RB1 on that team. Depends on how good he comes back from that Achilles hurt injury. We saw this, people like Marlon Mack, I think, had an Achilles. Sometimes they never come back the same. So something you got to be aware of there. So again, as you can see here, guys, very, very slim. And then you've got sleepers and dart throws like Rashad White later, Zamir White, guys like that. But I would never draft a McKissick, a Gainwell, a Naheem Hines, a Darrell Henderson, a Singletary, a Melvin Gordon. Rashad Penny sucks too. I would never draft these guys on my roster. And the guys that I mentioned, take a look at the breakdown there for those guys, okay? Because those are the guys that could have that ceiling, okay? Like the Damion Pierces that I mentioned, Cornell Patterson. Josh Jacobs. But the other guys, as I broke them down, you got to be careful because they could be in a situation where they're going to have issues. Like I mentioned, Chase Edmunds, years to wows were not wowed. Elijah Mitchell, injured before, suspect offense, different. Cam Akers, boomer bust. So listen to what I said here, guys, with these injuries and with these past lack of success years, and make educated decisions when you are going running back mid to late round. But if you got 16 rounds, you should already be set at running back, and you may need a sleeper here and there. Now, Damion Pierce was my sleeper, guys. He was the guy who was getting mid to late, and everyone's sleeping on him after I went robust RB. So now I literally had like 4 or 5 workhorse running backs. That's what I do. I aim high on the depth chart later, and I avoid all these Myles Gaskins, these Melvin Gordons, these Singletaries of the world, the guys that suck. I don't draft them. I go workhorse, and then I go for those home run hitters like the Damion Pierce. But then that's why I draft earlier. As we get closer to the season, everybody discovers these guys, and then they become harder to get. So robust RB is the key. Get 16 rounds, use code 220, because as you can see here, guys, it's a crapshoot. But when you look at wide receiver mid to late rounds, you've got wide receiver ones for days, from Judy to Darnell Mooney to Amon-Ra St. Brown's to Cortland Sutton's, all these guys, it could be the wide receiver ones and are the wide receiver ones, from Brandon Cooks, right? Tons of wide receiver one sleepers, or mid-round guys, I should say. You don't have to really worry about like as many question marks as you have here, because you're getting wide receiver ones that are primed for volume, all right? So robust or bust, guys, I really, really implore you for that when you're going into the draft. Don't hesitate to pull the trigger on your Saquons, your Najees, your Henrys earlier on, because it's very slim and trim, as we discussed here, guys, in mid to late rounds, okay? And again, if you want the upside guys, Kenneth Walker could go off, okay? Guys like that. So make sure you guys get those upside guys. Cornell Patterson, maybe an Algier later, right? Those are the guys that go, have the upside. But what you see is what you get with guys like Gainwell, McKissick, all those guys, years to wows were not wowed. Stay away from those guys, all right? Subscribe, thumbs up. And again, manscaped.com. Go treat yourself. Shower Line 20, guys. Go right now on checkout. Get the trimmer, get the body wash, get the deodorant. Go experience some amazing products, guys. I appreciate you, and I'm out.